You ever been in one of those debates where someone just goes, well, that's just subjective, and the conversation just stops? Today, we're going to tear that idea apart and look at a really powerful new way to understand the line between subjective and objective reality. So let's get into it. All right, first up, let's look at the classic showdown. We're all taught to think about this in a very particular way, right? Like there's this huge, clear wall between what we feel and what we know for sure. And this is that classic view. You've got two columns. In one corner, you have subjective stuff, personal feelings, opinions, all that squishy human emotion. And in the other corner, you have the objective, hard, cold, empirical facts and pure rationality. Seems pretty clean, right? One is personal, the other is universal. But come on, is anything ever really that simple? What if putting these ideas in two separate boxes is actually holding us back? What if the line between them isn't a wall, but more like a journey? And this brings us to the core idea of this whole thing. Let's try to reframe this entire concept, not as two things fighting each other, but as two different stages of the very same process. Okay, check out this new definition. Subjective isn't the opposite of a fact. It is a fact. It's just a fact that hasn't been put through the ringer yet. It hasn't been widely measured or verified by a bunch of other people. So it's not unreal, it's just untested. Now let that sink in for a second. When you experience something, whether it's joy or pain or some sudden realization, that experience is 100% real and factual for you. It objectively happened to you. The subjective part just means its dimensions haven't been confirmed by others. It's basically an objective event with an audience of one. So this process right here shows that journey from subjective to objective. It all starts with a personal experience, a subjective fact. Then comes the verification process. You share it, people test it, they measure it, and if it holds up, it graduates to becoming a widely accepted objective fact. See? It's a spectrum, not a light switch. So, what does all this actually mean for us in the real world? Well, thinking this way has some amazing upsides, but it also comes with a really, really serious warning label that we have to pay attention to. Let's start with the good stuff, the benefits. When you start seeing subjectivity as this untested state, it can totally change your outlook. You might become way more open to new ideas because you see them as potential facts just waiting to be explored. It really fosters curiosity and makes you appreciate that other people have different perspectives for a reason. But, and this is a huge but, there is a massive risk here. We cannot use this framework to dismiss someone else's reality. Just because another person's pain is subjective to us or untested by our own experience does not make it any less real or severe for them. That is the danger zone, using this idea to invalidate suffering that we just don't personally understand. So this brings us to the really practical part. Okay, the theory is cool, but how do we decide when to lean into subjectivity and when do we absolutely have to push for objective verification? We should embrace subjectivity when we're dealing with personal feelings or when the goal is just to explore and understand different viewpoints. But when a decision is going to impact a lot of people, when fairness is critical, or when the risk of getting it wrong is super high, that's when we have to push for objective, verified standards. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job. So I'll leave you with this question. Armed with this new perspective, what belief or assumption of yours, something you've maybe written off as just subjective or accepted as just a fact, are you now going to look at a little differently? What reality is now open for a new round of testing?